Hello, my name is Alexandra, I'm an illustrator and graphic designer, and today I want to talk to you guys about why it took me 2 years to finish this piece and why I'm not even mad about it. So to preface this, we're always told to finish a piece regardless of how complicated it is, because if you make mistakes, you're probably going to learn from it, and if you don't, you'll learn what you like to do, and you'll continue doing that. But what happens when you're stubborn? You have a pretty tight deadline, and you have life happening around you, like let's say a uni project that happens to be your diploma. Well, you get this piece. So back in 2018, the KDA music video got released and I was absolutely flabbergasted by Evelynn, and I really wanted to paint her and do her justice and achieve the level of polish that you would see for League of Legends splash arts. But I had no idea how to actually achieve that level of polish. Add on top of that a self-imposed 2-week deadline, hardly any knowledge about how to do backgrounds, lighting, anatomy in perspective, and a heap of other things. I'm gonna pop up a timeline of this piece so we can actually visualize what happened in between. If you're hearing something bang, that's my rabbit that has been fed and she is now asking for more food. You have been fed, calm down. Anyway, so this is the graph. I started back in 2018 in October, like I said, and as you can see, there's this gap between that and August 2019. Life happens. I finished my uni degree back then. I had some issues in my life that happened that took up a lot of time. Then I picked it back up in August. In between August and December, I did Inktober, for example, and I got burned out from that, so there was no way, chance in hell for me to actually pick this one back up. Also, if anyone's interested, I do have an Inktober series where I'm working through that year's prompt list, 2019. If you guys want to check it out, I have a playlist. Then December, January, then so on and so forth. Well, when we leave a piece in the work in progress folder, besides it mocking us constantly, we feel like we're not actually doing anything to it. We're just opening it, looking at it, and closing the window. Or if you have a piece lying on your desk, you're just eagerly waiting for it to work itself out, but it never happens. In this case, I realized later on that even if I wasn't actually working on the piece, I was doing things that would actively contribute to me having ease with finishing it in the future. So in that big 10-month time span from when I first started it and when I picked it back up, I had been doing background studies, I had been doing a lot of anatomy studies, portraits, etc., which gave me the confidence to attack the anatomy department with a new passion. That consistently happened throughout those times of pausing and not working on it. For example, in between December and January, I was doing Ahmed's 50 head challenge, which helped me jot down features and shadows for the portraits because I gave myself half an hour to work on each one of them. When the mark hit, I stopped. So that helped me build up speed. Portraits helped me build up anatomy, this helped me build up speed, and so on and so forth. Because if you give yourself a time deadline like I did in the beginning, you're gonna end up making a lot of mistakes, and because you don't have the skill set to properly correct those things or not do them in the first place, you're gonna end up frustrated and absolutely you will burn out. In my case, before I put it down for the first time, I was having issues with her right arm. Instead of drawing it in perspective and using a reference photo, which I eventually did use, I relied on only my basic knowledge of anatomy, like her arm is supposed to hit her waistline, and then her waistline is supposed to dictate the hips, and the hips are supposed to dictate the legs. As you can imagine, because I did that, the arm being wrong, everything was wrong from the waist down. So it helps taking a reference photo. If you can, take a reference photo of yourself. Look on the internet for reference photos. Amass an entire folder of images that will help you finish up the piece. For this one, I used Splash Arts from League of Legends. I checked out their art station and looked at how they actually finished a piece, if they did provide me those resources. I zoomed in on her splash art to understand how they rendered her claws, and looked at a lot of jewelry photographs and my own jewelry to understand how light hits it, and so on and so forth. As a conclusion to all of this, instead of doing that thing where you do a piece and you finish it and you sort of learn something, try when you work on it to assess where you're lacking and make a list. And if you make that list, whenever you are tired from creating, from actively working on a piece, try to do some studies. In my mind, it's as if you're jotting down notes from a course. For me, it helps to jot them down because I retain them faster. So I translated that way of doing it into art. Do some background pieces. Don't work in the same type of medium that you're working. For example, the background pieces that I did, I'm gonna put them up now. Those are in gouache, and her background is obviously digital, and it's obviously not a lush forest or ruins or whatever. It's a subway filled with graffiti. But it helped me build up confidence to tackle those things. So if there's something that I wanna underline, bold, etch in the wall, is practice. Yes, I know, shocking. Practice and you will get there. And if you're stubborn like me and want to get the piece exactly how it is in your brain, be honest with yourself where you're lacking. Because your ego will get in the way and will tell you, no, I got this, when you absolutely do not have it. If you enjoyed this video and everything in between, like, share, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!